It's Remembrance Day weekend, and it's a time for us to remember, right? It's a time for us to remember those who have sacrificed their lives for our freedom. And although this happened many, many years ago, it's important that we remember. And I think what I choose to remember is mankind's inhumanity to their fellow man, and our inability to resolve the conflicts that are around the world. And if you think that these things have stopped many years ago, you haven't been watching the news. These things continue. These continue to happen, and there's even rumblings of another world war. And you wonder if we have really learned anything over the years. You wonder if the people in the Ukraine will ever be able to forgive the people in Russia. It won't be tomorrow. It won't be for a long time. You wonder if the Jewish people will ever be able to forgive the people in Germany. You wonder if the people in Palestine will ever be able to forgive those for the atrocities that they're experiencing. It's part of our human nature. It's part of our human nature to remember. And a lot of times we remember the wrong things and we forget the things that we should remember, right? The hurts and the slights and the pains and the abuse that happens when we were younger. It's interesting, the things that I remember from my childhood, and when my brother, who's a year older than me, when we talk about our childhood, he has a totally different memory of things than what I do. There's one incident that is etched in my brain about the time my dad took my brother and I out skating on Pewaukee Lake, just outside of Milwaukee. And I was cold, and I went back in the car, and soon my brother came in crying, and my dad had gotten so angry at him because he wasn't able to skate. My dad had put speed skates on my brother for the first time in his life, and he couldn't do it. And my dad's frustration boiled over, and my brother was so hurt, and I remember that. And when I bring this story up to my brother, he has no recollection. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't have any idea. But it's interesting what we choose to remember. And I do believe that it's human nature to remember the negative things, right? It's to remember the slights, the hurts, and the pains. And we forget the good things from years ago. It's part of our Christian faith. And it's ironic, too, that the people in the Ukraine and the people in Russia share a Christian faith. But this is part of our Christian calling, isn't it? To forgive and to move forward and to live together as brothers and sisters. But when we recall those people who have lost their lives, the land that has been lost, the atrocities, and now the pain and suffering, and there's so many places in the Ukraine that do not have power, do not have water, there's no utilities. What is their winter going to be like? It is going to be a difficult task. But it's when we carry this pain and this hurt and this anger year after year and teach it to our children, this is what leads to chaos and wars and the never-ending system of violence. And on the other hand, it seems that we forget too often the good things that happen in our lives, isn't it? We forget those things that we should be grateful for. Gratitude is such a big part of our Christian faith, our spiritual lives. Every day we should wake up grateful for all the wonderful things that God has done for us. And human nature takes that away. We wake up grumbling and complaining and worried and scared about the things that are going to happen in this day and in the weeks to come. Gratitude. Gratitude. And you know, in Canada, we should be of the most grateful people in the world. And I think we've lost so much of that. We grumble and complain about the governments. And now in the States, after a very contentious election, does anybody think that the American people are closer together after this election? Or are they further apart? They're probably further apart and more entrenched in their beliefs and their ideologies than they ever have been before. And if you were tired of the political ads that were on TV the last couple of weeks, just wait till the next election. It's going to be even more so. I couldn't even watch TV. How do we get people to put aside their differences and come together? We FaceTimed last night when they had a reception for Scott and Casey in Milwaukee for family members who weren't able to come here to Canada. And I give gratitude for the fact that in my family, we have stayed together. We have stayed together and put aside differences and believe that forgiveness, moving forward, looking past the hurts and the pains, and realizing that living together is the most powerful thing that we can do. In Canada, it's the same thing. Be grateful for what we have and do everything we can to live together in harmony and in peace. And maybe we're not listening to each other. Okay? You know how liberal I am and towards the left. Maybe people like myself are not listening to the people on the right. Maybe all that horn blowing that was going on in the summertime was a sign that you're not listening to me. You're not hearing what I have to say. And that's probably true, that we're so far apart and so entrenched in our ways that we're not listening anymore. God has given us this ministry and this challenge to live together. And it's a part of all of us. It's a part of all of us here in Saskatchewan, Western Canada, and all of Canada together and the world. It's our task to come together, to live in harmony, and to live as one. Amen.